Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
I've always prided myself on my eye for detail, a skill that served me well as a marketing analyst for Prestige Home Tech, an online retailer specializing in high-end, custom-built electronics. My job involved coordinating bespoke delivery experiences for our VIP clientele. Think custom home theater projectors, audiophile sound systems, and massive curved displays. For these specialized jobs, we relied almost exclusively on Julian Vance, an independent logistics contractor. Julian wasn't just a driver, he was an artist. He owned a meticulously outfitted, climate-controlled van, carried specialized lifting gear, and had the delicate touch required for installing gear worth more than some cars. He'd spent decades in the industry, building a reputation for white-glove service. But our head of sales, Cynthia Thorne, was systematically destroying his business. Cynthia was all about closing the sale, damn the consequences. To sweeten deals for high-value clients, she'd promised Julian's premium installation service, which normally included a pre-delivery site survey, uncrating, setup, and calibration for pennies, sometimes even free. She'd absorb the cost from Julian's negotiated rates without his consent, then tell him to just make it work. I'd often see his invoices, noting the stark difference between what he should have charged and what Cynthia approved. He was doing multi-hour installations of delicate, multi-thousand-dollar equipment up 3 flights of stairs, getting paid less than a standard curbside drop-off. I started helping Julian on some weekend runs, just for extra cash, but mostly because I saw how much he was struggling. He was a good man, dedicated, and watching Cynthia exploit him to boost her own sales numbers boiled my blood. He confided in me that he was close to having to sell his specialized equipment just to keep his lights on. The breaking point came when Julian showed me the schedule for the Aurora launch. We had dozens of pre-orders for our new, oversized, custom-built sound system modules, each requiring Julian's specialized handling and installation. Cynthia, in her infinite short-sightedness, had promised every single one full white glove, no-hassle installation, heavily discounted or free, to push sales. Julian was facing weeks of grueling, underpaid labor that would bankrupt him. I took Julian for a coffee. He was too stressed for anything stronger. I laid out my audacious plan. "Julian," I said, "Cynthia has cornered herself. Only you have the equipment and expertise to handle these Aurora modules on such short notice. No other contractor can match your specialized rigging and climate-controlled transport." I proposed he call Cynthia and abruptly terminate his contract, effective immediately. He looked at me like I was insane. "Aaron, she'll just find someone else." "I can't afford to lose Prestige's contract." I just smiled. "No, she won't. Not for these specific, delicate deliveries. And even if she could, it would take weeks to vet and onboard them, weeks she doesn't have before the launch." I told him that by that afternoon, she'd be begging him to come back. With a trembling hand, Julian called Cynthia. I had him put her on speaker. He told her politely but firmly that he was terminating his contract with Prestige Home Tech, effective immediately. Cynthia predictably scoffed. "Julian, you're throwing away your biggest client. We'll find someone cheaper, someone who appreciates the work." Julian, though pale, hung up. I checked my watch. It was 1 p.m. I assured him she'd call back by 4 p.m. We spent the next 2 hours crafting a new non-negotiable contract. It included triple his standard rates for all deliveries, separate mandatory fees for pre-site surveys, complex installations, e.g., stairs, tight spaces, and specialized equipment usage. Explicit clauses stating that if a customer was unprepared, e.g., access not cleared, item wouldn't fit, no one home, the delivery was still considered fulfilled, and the item would be left at the safest accessible point, e.g., curb, front porch. Any redelivery would be charged as a new, full delivery. An additional inconvenience fee for any issues arising from incorrect information provided by Prestige sales staff. A minimum 30-day notice period for termination from either side, with a hefty penalty if Prestige initiated it without cause. At 4:15 p.m., Julian's phone rang. It was Cynthia. Her tone was markedly different, almost syrupy. "Julian, darling, about those Aurora deliveries. We're in a bit of a bind." Julian, with newfound courage, cut her off. He explained the years of being undervalued, the unpaid labor, the disrespect. Then, with me nodding encouragement, he laid out every single demand from our new contract. Cynthia exploded. "Are you extorting me, Julian? This is ridiculous. We'll just find another company." I subtly nudged Julian, who then calmly replied, "Cynthia, you know as well as I do that no other outfit can handle these Aurora units like I can. Not by tomorrow, not by next week. You either sign this, or you face a logistical catastrophe and dozens of angry VIP customers demanding refunds on launch day." He then added that he'd be coming to her office now to get it signed, and he'd expect payment for the first day's deliveries up front. Her face was thunderous when we arrived. She complained bitterly about being between a rock and a hard place, but the looming launch and the certain wrath of high-spending customers forced her hand. She signed every line of the new contract, her pen scratching furiously. Julian then backed his specialized van into our loading bay, and we began loading the first batch of precious Aurora units. Cynthia watched, a sneer on her face, but this time, her smirk felt hollow. The next day was glorious. We started our run. At the first house, a massive Aurora module didn't fit through the customer's front door, which hadn't been measured, despite Cynthia promising seamless installation. The customer, expecting a team to effortlessly glide it in, was furious. Julian, referencing the contract, politely informed them that per their signed agreement, the delivery was fulfilled, and the unit would be left on their expansive front porch. They could arrange for their own movers. We did the same for 3 more customers that day, leaving high-value equipment exactly where the contract allowed, not a millimeter further. One unit ended up on a homeowner's lawn because they hadn't cleared the path to their media room. Another was dropped carefully at a condo building's loading dock because the customer hadn't booked the freight elevator. For the few genuinely prepared customers, Julian went above and beyond, providing the best service imaginable. The fallout was immediate and spectacular. By midday, Cynthia's phone was ringing off the hook. Furious VIP customers, who had paid thousands for their systems and were promised premium service, were now staring at expensive electronics sitting in their driveways or unable to be installed. Social media lit up with angry posts, damaging prestige home tech's carefully curated image. Customer service lines were jammed. Refunds were demanded. The cost of retrieving and redelivering those units, now at triple Julian's rates, plus the inconvenience fees, was astronomical. Cynthia's sales numbers, once her pride, plummeted as returns and cancellations surged. Within a month, Cynthia Thorne was gone. Officially, pursuing other opportunities. Unofficially, she was fired for gross mismanagement and single-handedly tanking the company's biggest product launch in years. Julian's business, on the other hand, flourished. With the fair compensation and robust contract, he could invest in more equipment and even hire an assistant. He became the go-to specialist for other high-end retailers, his reputation for precise, if now incredibly expensive, service impeccable. I, too, found my standing within the company subtly elevated, often consulted on logistics and customer experience. Sometimes, true justice isn't just about getting even. It's about watching someone's carefully constructed house of cards collapse under the weight of their own greed, and knowing you held the match.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.